even I've got my limit of like how much I'm willing to tolerate anymore. I'm just frustrated right now. I'm frustrated with this whole website, blogging, SEO, HCU, Reddit, the whole pile of garbage. I am just frustrated with it. So I'm just going to use this video to talk about that. If you don't know, my name is Rob. I'm just some guy that's been blogging over the last couple of years who likes talking about blogging, his website, and SEO. I may or may not actually know what I'm talking about, but I like talking about it. I'm not sure a lot of people actually know what they're talking about whenever they're talking about it, but at least I know that I may not know that what I'm talking about. So anyways, if you like hearing a bozo blab about things he may or may not know about when it comes to blogging and SEO, but maybe you like being entertained, hit subscribe, hit like. Today I want to talk more about my website and how much it stinks now. I haven't really got in depth on my site since the HCU hit, and I used to talk about it a lot whenever things were essentially when the air was going out of the balloon. I talked about it a lot back then, but I want to show you how bad things have actually got since that time. I mean, if you want to take a look at this, if you want to guess when the HCU hit, here is the September slope. And we are down here. And things continue to get worse for me. I mean, as you can see here, I was doing okay. And as we look at my traffic numbers, as we kind of move through here, you can see it's down in the low 2000s now. And this is painful to watch happen because if we look up here at these keywords, let me actually do this. Let me show you what this looked like 6 months ago to give you an idea of how much traffic I've actually lost. I was actually over 30,000 organic keywords that I had on my website. And again, I wasn't an SEO smarty pants, not no whiz kid. I was just a guy that worked really hard at his blog, learned how to do it, and had good success in doing that. And in return, a decent amount of affiliate commissions were made, and even just traffic through like Mediafine. You can see here I've lost almost 25,000 of my organic keywords. But let's look at the top 3, which is where a lot of my traffic was obviously coming from. I've lost almost 1,000. In fact, this number did say 1,000 at one point for my top 3. To see this number be a 5, as somebody that believes himself to be fairly patient, and I think that I'm speaking, if you're watching this video, you're probably feeling the same way. Like, it's unfathomable to me what has happened to this website. Like, I kept seeing this number just go down, and like whenever it got down to like 10, I thought at least it's still double digits. At least it's still, I mean, it's sad, but like seeing it being in single digits and almost to nothing after what it was. And look, here's the thing. I don't expect anything whenever it comes to the rankings. There's never any promises made. It's always volatile, etc. But what puts salt on the wound of my red bear bottom that has been absolutely spanked like crazy is that nobody really understands why this has happened. Nobody really has a real clue on what has transpired here. Every single piece of advice that I have seen, every single, like, here's what you need to do now, none of that has changed anything. And I'm not talking about for me. As you guys know, nobody, to my knowledge, or anybody on Twitter or that I've seen in the nobody has seen a true HCU turnaround. If you were spanked 60% or more, there isn't a turnaround. None of that stuff mattered. Prune your stuff down, make it more concise, add your whatever thing is, whatever it is. None of it made any difference. And that's what makes the whole thing so frustrating, is that it has happened and there is no real concise explanation as to what had happened, right? And on top of that, we have then been replaced by even more confusing other articles, which show way less EEAT, which of course now Google is like, actually it's not, it's not a ranking factor like everybody kind of thought it was. And maybe that's true, but man, to see articles outrank me that have no idea what they're talking about on the subject that I do know what I'm talking about as a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach and somebody that's just been in fitness for a long time. Like, it is aggravating to see me be beat out by nonsense. And so those things combined, I am at a level of frustration. I smile because I'm sad. Not real sad, but like, it's ridiculous to me. So seeing these numbers like this, hard to fathom, and it puts you into a bit of a spot because you have to love your site to keep going on it at this point, because there's nothing promising about what's going on right now. Obviously they just had the big Reddit and Google, whatever kind of weird collusion-y type of thing they just did, which puts everything like if you were hit by HCU, it's just like, oh, okay. Like, when does the Quora one get announced? It stinks. It stinks real bad. And so we've got that going on. We have what seems to be no clear indication of what's coming. I mean, there's going to be an update before long. We're now into March. Like, they're revving something up. And you still have what seems to be Google's absolute head in the sand when it comes to A, the current state of things, and B, certainly where things are going after this. They're still giving a lot of just absolute garbage responses like right for people. But we know that that doesn't work. So it's sort of like, okay, so why are they saying that? Why would they say things that they know aren't the reality? And that's a great question. I don't understand that either. But again, that adds to the overall frustration of everything that's going on. I will say my DR and my UR have climbed since the HCU, but by like a couple of points each, which doesn't really mean anything. Who gives a flying fart? But like, at least it's something, right? So what am I doing right now? So I've diversified my time. I was doing this anyways, I almost said balls, but not, I'll say neck deep in the Amazon Influencer Program, spending a lot of time doing that. And I am still working on my website. I've been going through, trying to update the UX some more, trying to add different types of elements, a different type of experience, trying to make it look a little bit less like it's my site and more like a site that's sort of like generally owned by me. So, I took a couple of things out, like I took out my name from each of the articles. It still says the date it was published, etc., but now it just sort of looks like, and the reason I did that was because I was looking at the other articles that were ranking now in front of me, and rarely did I see an article that said, by Doug, or Steve, or whatever. They just didn't say that. It would just said, here's the name of the article, the date, and then it just went into the article. And sometimes there was an artist bio. I left my artist bio up there, but just trying to sort of mimic what is happening in the SERPs right now without giving up too much of like my own identity, right? Without trying to sacrifice too much of why I like my site to start with. There's that old saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And I did this a few weeks ago in another video where I was updating some articles based off of the titles that the other ranking articles had and adjusting mine to do that. And so I'm looking at some of those things, like the little in-betweens, like, okay, what are those articles doing? What is it that they're doing that I might be missing? Because it's not the great content. Let's just go ahead and say it. A lot of this just isn't the great content. It shouldn't be ranking anymore, right? But it is. I mean, it shouldn't be ranking based off of article quality, but Google says it should be based off of something. And so I'm trying to just, again, read between the lines, try to find the needle in the haystack. I'm trying to be the one out of all of the websites that didn't recover. Maybe I can be the first and figure something out. I realize that that's nearly impossible, but the frustration has left me at that point of just like, if I want to rank, if I want to have a money-making website and write about the things that I love writing about, I have to figure something else out here, because what else am I supposed to do with it? I don't want to abandon it. So you just keep going and you keep fighting. And this is what I've said all along about what I know about SEO, is that I'm not a smarty pants. I'm not a whiz kid, but I am somebody that works really hard. And that's just what I'm going to keep on doing. Frustration be damned. That's just what I'm going to keep on doing. So thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you for letting me vent. A lot of this probably doesn't make, it may not be valid. And it's just sort of like, I usually don't complain too much, and I'm trying not to complain, and I'm trying to be mindful of what the situation is. And I'm not special in the eyes of Google, and I understand that, but it's okay to be frustrated. I think a lot of us are. If Google would just be a little bit more forthcoming and give us some sort of idea of, okay, you don't want us to do X, so then what do you want us to do? And that part they seem to be mum about. I don't think it's because they're hiding it. I think it's because they've sailed themselves into a Bermuda Triangle and they don't know how to get out of it. And, I left a note on my Twitter. By the way, I'll put my Twitter account down below, that I truly believe these articles are not ranking us because Google thinks that they are better. I think that they're outranking us because Google can't tell the difference between good and bad articles. And I think that is the thing that should scare people more than just getting outranked by a site that you think is not as good. If Google can't tell the difference, Google's in trouble. Hit subscribe if you guys haven't. Thank you so much for watching this. Another video coming out in a couple of days. I'll be much more cheery. But until then, peace out.